Oh, you get it. Is it a one knuckler or a two knuckler? Yeah. So two finger, two. Oh my God, that's six
The ring.
knuckles. Oh, fist me. I think that's how we met. Anyways, let me. So, I had one more disparaging thing to say about.
Let's say it on air.
All right, I'll say it on there.
Welcome back to the bullshit filler, the first bullshit filler for 2021. Ray
Yay!
Harris.
Hello, I'm here. I'm excited. Woo! I'm dressed up too.
Happy New Year, buddy. Yeah, looking
Happy
nice.
New Year. How's it going?
I got this on. Look at that.
Oh, nice. May namaste.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Dealing part of the affiliate is saying.
Yes.
It's our first bullshit filler for 2021, our first show for 2021. Just quickly, tell me about your Christmas and New Year. I haven't spoken to you for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. That was my Christmas. Oh no, I'm joking. I don't. That was hurtful. I'm sorry. No, it was a low key Christmas. I don't know if you heard this COVID thing's going around. So we were pretty much here at the house and just opening gifts and yada yada yada. I got some socks. I was pretty excited, which means I'm an old man now that I'm excited about socks.
To put on the door when Angelo comes over.
Yes. Now I'm depressed.
D'Angelo.
Yeah. Anyway, so how was yours?
Yeah, pretty quiet. We just played Minecraft and sat in the pool, and it's very hot.
Yeah. Oh, so, you sat in the pool.
Yeah,
it must be so hard for you.
It was. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be going down to Melbourne to do a QAV event this week, but COVID has broken out again in Sydney and Melbourne, so I can't go down. Right. But, unlike your magnificent failed state, when we get like 5 cases, they're like, shut the borders, everyone close down. That's it. Everyone go home.
Yeah.
If it was the US, we'd be opening up. Yeah.
It's a Tuesday.
Dead people. Who cares?
Yeah.
So today in the bullshit filler, we were supposed to have a guest, Mike Snyder, my favorite crazy American conspiracy theorist, but he pulled out. We can only assume why. Mike was going to come on. He called me an idiot on Facebook couple of weeks ago, and after his last appearance on this show, that's pretty bold of him. He said he has claimed in various discussions I've had with him on Facebook that the election was stolen, there was fraud, he can back it up, and that the COVID cases are inflated in the US, and he could back that up as well. So I invited him to come on the show and back that up, but he pulled out 10 minutes ago. So it's just you and I. We're going to have to just ad lib. We're going to have to ad lib stuff because we weren't prepared for this.
I can do that. A quick question to follow up. Does that mean that there are not 342,000 deaths in America? Or some of those are like other reasons, like mountain lion attacks and car wrecks and stuff like that.
Look, I see this prop up from Australians as well, disappointingly. I have to jump in every time. People say, well, only 6% of the deaths are, solely related to COVID. It's all inflated. And, I think we've done this on the show before, but I have to point out to people that, yes, that's what COVID does. If we knew this all along. We talked about this from the very get-go. We said the people at most risk of fatality from COVID were those that had comorbidities, a word I don't think I ever used before 2020. But people with existing medical conditions, they're overweight, their immune system is weakened by, because of whatever. They've got heart conditions, lung conditions, liver conditions, diabetes. The toll that COVID plays on your system can cause one of these other things to finally kill you, whereas we may have been able to hold it off without COVID. So all these people going around saying the numbers, that's one of the excuses that you'll see being bandied about in terms of inflation, that it's because they died of pneumonia. Yes, but they died of pneumonia because they had COVID. People say, well, if you're in a car crash and you got COVID, that's a COVID death. No, it's not a COVID death. COVID related deaths are ones where you had an existing condition that was exacerbated by COVID, and you would have probably had a good chance of surviving if COVID hadn't overwhelmed your system. And the fact that there are people out there seriously trying to push this argument is
angrily trying to push it.
Is sort of depressing in a way at how just fucking stupid people are.
Yeah. So, but what you're saying is, to be blunt, is even if you die in relation with COVID and something else, like one of these pre-existing conditions, COVID gets the win. I mean, that is the reason why it's on your death certificate, COVID related illness or whatever. And so again, yeah. And so is it supposed to make us feel better that the numbers are theoretically inflated? That's stupid. That's ridiculous. We still have 342,000 deaths, and we're going to have another 100,000 or 200,000 before this is all over with. I don't know if you've kept up with this, but not only are we falling behind on getting the medicines out to various locales, we also can't get them to administer the vaccines because these various medical institutions have been underfunded for years, and they're too busy dealing with COVID patients to actually give the COVID vaccine. So they were telling us, give us another 6 to 8 months. Now it's looking like it's going to be longer than that before the general populace starts getting this vaccine. We could be looking at a second year here. And so who in the hell knows what's going to happen here in America? Israel is a whole different situation. We'll probably get to that in a moment.
And then you've got this pharmacist in Milwaukee in Ozaukee County who has been arrested and charged with deliberately spoiling 600 doses of the vaccine. He left them out because they're supposed to be refrigerated. He left them out for 12 hours, I think, allegedly is in a deliberate attempt to destroy them because he thought they were going to change people's DNA. This guy is a fucking pharmacist.
He should know better. He should be hung up by his nutsack, but that's not a legal thing. I don't think.
Getting back to the cause of death, my father probably died of a heart attack. The fact that he had advanced stage 4 cancer at the time means that the cause of death is listed as cancer, but he probably didn't die of the cancer. It's not like a cancer cell killed him. He died of a heart attack, but his body was so weakened because of the cancer. It was the heart attack. We go, well, it's not really a cancer death. Yes, it is a cancer death, but he died of a heart attack because he had cancer. It's not that fucking hard to understand, you would think.
Exactly. And again, these people are still dead and they suffered, and maybe some of them were the wage earners in their families. So now the family suffers besides the grief. And you've seen this on the news, they can't have those closing moments with their family because it's not like a whole bunch of people can come into the room and say goodbye to them. So it's horrible, it's miserable, it's painful, and it's just ongoing. And who knows when it's going to stop.
Or depending on your family.
Oh yeah. Mine would be like
relief.
Score. Sorry.
COVID has got me out of many parties and weddings this year. And I'm like, thank you, COVID. Thank you, COVID, for making this the best year ever. It's just giving me excuses to get out of doing shit that I don't want to do. It's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode. I'm using.
Well, this is the good COVID.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I can't come to your thing, your party.
Yeah, as much as I want to.
I've got COVID. So I might have COVID.
I've been exposed.
Tony Coniston used it to get out of doing a podcast with me this week. We were supposed to do a QOV episode, and he said, somebody at my golf club down at his country estate was diagnosed with COVID. So he said, I'm quarantining and, I may have COVID. Yeah. So I can't, I could give it to you over the microphone. I don't want to do it. He got out of a whole show by doing it. Took another week off.
Well, he was thinking about your safety. So thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
The other thing I really wanted to talk about with you, though, Papa
Yeah.
Bear, today is Trump's phone call to the Secretary of State of Georgia.
Yeah.
Hit the media yesterday. Have you listened to the recording of the call?
I didn't listen to the whole thing because I don't have that kind of tolerance, but I did listen to snippets. The part that I enjoyed was that he called the Secretary of State 18 times before he finally got through to him. This guy's like, I'm not fucking taking that call. But the White House put pressure on him. He took the call, and either he or the lawyer had a sense of mind to hit record. I wouldn't be surprised if someone's recording us right now. I mean, that's just the world we live in. So always got to look out for that.
Yeah, I'm recording us right now. This is a
See,
podcast.
told you. It's
See,
everywhere. It's a
that's how
vast
it works.
conspiracy.
I heard
Okay.
on Conan O'Brien's show yesterday that in the US, podcasters are now declared essential services personnel.
It's been a long time coming. I'd like to thank many people. No, that's not a speech. I'm sorry. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because we're keeping people sane, especially Tommy G. Oh my God, this guy burns through our material like crazy, like porn. Really like porn.
Yeah, getting back to Trump's phone call,
Yeah.
I did listen to the bits that were released by the Washington Post. I tell you what, like a lot of people are saying it's a bad thing, this phone call, because he's trying to, still overthrow the results of the election. But I tell you, I think it's a good thing. I think you should be
Right.
happy about this phone call, and I'll tell you why.
Mhm.
Also, yesterday, all of the living former secretaries of defense
Right.
signed an open letter urging Trump not to try and involve the military in a coup. I mean, the fact that they did that, and
They
most
had
of
to,
them are
they thought they had to.
Republicans, yeah,
Yes.
is fascinating in and of
Yeah.
itself. But the fact that he made that phone call to the Secretary of State of Georgia, to me, that doesn't sound like the kind of phone call a guy who's about to plan a coup in the next couple of days or couple of weeks makes. If you've got a coup, a military
Right.
coup, being organized, being engineered, planned, you don't
Right.
ring a guy begging him to find you 11,780 votes.
I would respectfully disagree. The coup is in my back pocket and I'll fucking use it, but I would rather not. Let me call up this nobody guy, Secretary of State of Georgia, and let me put the pressure on him, put the screws on him, I think as the mob says, and see if I can get him to break. I mean, it didn't happen, but you always, you start easy and then you come in with a sledgehammer. You don't lead off with the sledgehammer. Maybe unless you're Trump. I don't know, but I still think it's possible. Something very undemocratic and violent is going to happen Wednesday. Who in the hell knows what's going to happen Wednesday?
Yeah. So Wednesday, the Georgia runoff is happening tonight, your time. What day is it there?
Tomorrow. It's Monday here.
I thought it was
So
Monday. It's not Monday night. It's Tuesday.
Tuesday for the Georgia election, which at least 3 million people have already voted through ballots and mail and stuff like that. And then the very next day is when the Senate comes together and the shit show is going to start. Congress is going to start.
Joint sitting of Congress,
yes.
and Mike Pence has to verify the Electoral College count.
It's procedural, it's ceremonial, but somehow Trump didn't get that memo. He's like, no, just say the other name. Just come on, say the other name. Who in the fuck knows what these people are going to do? So how loyal is Pence? That's the question.
The very fact that, these things are even happening in the United States.
Yes.
Is astounding, amusing, terrifying. But, and this has been the point that I've been making for donkey's years. Just another piece of evidence that the US is a failed state. It's in decline. And this is what happens when you have unfettered capitalism as the basis of your socioeconomics for a country, right?
Exactly.
It's the culmination of decades and decades of people with money taking control of the mechanisms of power inside the US, trying to fight a battle against the progressive forces. and to maintain control. It's something that we've explored in the Cold War show. This has been
Yeah.
going on in various forms in the United States since the 20s. And it escalated in the 30s and 40s when FDR and the New Deal was going on. We saw all of these conservative business forces align themselves
Oh
with the
yes.
churches to try and connect capitalism and Christianity in America all into one big propaganda myth,
And they did a
and
great job.
to bundle any discussion of progressive economics
Yeah, it gets
with
labeled.
Soviet autocracy
Exactly.
or
Evil.
evil. Yeah,
It gets
inherent
evil. Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I was going to say, if Mike had come on, I was going to say, and tell me what you think about this real quick. Let's assume for a second that with every presidential election, there's a little bit of cheating. There's some people who are maybe getting their dead aunt's ballot, or who knows. But let's say that there's a certain amount of discrepancies, completely illegal stuff baked into the election. I have no trouble believing that because humans are humans. But if that's the case, Biden won with that amount of illegal activity baked in. So it's not enough to change the votes, because what Biden won by, what, 5 or 7 million votes, 8 million, I can't remember. But the point is, it's probably not a perfect system, but he won. Let's move on. But for some people to hold on to that, and who are willing to march on Washington on Wednesday with their guns, cause trouble, maybe there's going to be more stabbings. I know the National Guard's going to be out in force. I mean, it's just crazy. Like you said, this should not be happening. When Trump won, I was in a stupor for a month. I got over it, and I made a whole bunch of jokes for the next 4 years. For whatever reason, these people can't get over it and move on with their lives. What's changed? Is it their religious belief?
You've been in a stupor
Stupor,
the entire time I've known you. I don't know
not
what
a sexual stupor, slightly
Trump's
different. But the point is,
election has to do with it. It's
no, but why can't these people do what a lot of disgruntled people did 4 years ago? I can't answer that.
Well, because I think they genuinely believe that there is a fundamental threat to
Mm,
their way of life, to the United
right.
States, and what it means. I think they genuinely believe that there is corruption and fraud, that the radical left, as they like to call them, which to me is they're sort of center right, your radical left over there.
Yeah.
The radical left are going to bring in socialism. There'll be, every other baby will be aborted, just lying on the streets. There will be, they'll take away their guns. There's going to be,
Right.
I don't know, whatever. They believe all of the conspiracy theory fear scenarios, and they're prepared to fight. There's all this mythology in your country about standing up and fighting for your rights, and
Yeah.
the only thing it takes for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing, and all of this sort of
Right.
deadwood cowboy era
Yeah. We love it. We
mythology.
love it. Well, the other mythology is that we're just, each election is the election, that's just like you said, just trying to hold off the end of days. Remember when the Democrats took everybody's guns? Oh wait, that didn't happen, but that's still the message that gets out there, and it still works. People still get worked up. They still go out and buy a whole bunch of guns every time someone says something. That I was looking at the two Democrats who are running in the Georgia election, and what they said was, look, if we get elected, we will help Biden pass another COVID relief bill, because clearly American people hasn't got enough money. We will help with minimum wage. We will help with student debt relief. I mean, and my response to that shouldn't be, oh, you socialist bastards. They're trying to be progressive. They're trying to bring the people along. But like you said, those very things make people think of socialism, which thinks of communism, which thinks of the Soviets, thinks of the Cold War. It's all evil, and it has to be stopped no matter what. There's no thinking. It's all just gut reaction and caveman processing. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. But of course, I would love to see a revolution in the United States. I do think you need one,
It'll be messy.
But it's, for different reasons. It's
Right.
not to stop the progressive forces, it's to fight the elite. The
Yeah.
military industrial complex. You need to wrest control of the country and the economy and the
Yes.
military away from the military industrial complex, which has been using its power over the last 70 years to
Mhm.
create so much damage around the globe, and in America to basically extract billions, if not trillions,
Billions.
of dollars
Yes.
out of your economy that should be going to pay for healthcare and education and
Huh.
infrastructure,
There's an idea.
to go into the pockets of
Yeah.
corporations in the MIC.
Yeah. Oh, semi-related. Did you see where Mitch McConnell's and Nancy Pelosi's houses were vandalized after the COVID checks, which stayed at 600 and it got to 2,000? I mean, you're right. I mean, we even though it's incremental, we are getting to where not civil war, but we're getting to where violence is more and more becoming the go-to response when someone's not happy with something, how something has turned out. I mean, again, it reminds me of Rome, the brothers Gracchi. You just get a little closer and closer, and there's a little more violence each time until, and then once the genie's out of the bottle, how in the hell do you stop something like that until one side wins?
Yeah, you're right. And, I see it the same way through the lens of history, right? Once
Mm-hmm.
things cross a certain line, it's very
Yeah,
hard to put
it's on.
the cats back in the bag, right? It's the forces, like you've got a growing percentage of people over there who are extremists, and some on the left and some on the right. I mean, another thing that Mike Schneider's always gone on about it, how it's the Antifa that are the real danger on the streets.
Bullshit.
Look, I'm sure there are some angry people on the left over there
Yeah.
who, like me, want to overthrow the system. And I'm sure that there are some people like that that are, you know,
Yeah.
committing acts of vandalism and violence from time to time. But according to your own FBI,
Yeah.
the
What's the
vast
number one
majority of
threat? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
domestic terrorism is coming from the extreme right.
Exactly. They've got guns. They've got cans of beans stocked up in a cave somewhere out west. They're ready to go there, and they're getting more organized. They're using technology. Like they tried to kidnap that governor a couple of months ago, Michigan or wherever. But yeah, so that is the real number one threat in America. And all the terrorist attacks that we keep worried about from the Middle East, we're too busy terrorizing ourselves. So it's time to acknowledge the real threat to this country, but people don't want to. So because it doesn't fit their narrative.
Hmm. So when are you leaving? When are you getting out?
Well, the plan was, and please don't take this personally, because Kiki wants to move to Brisbane. We were going to move to Scotland, but then Brexit came along, and their GDP is going to be shit or suffering for maybe a generation, at least 10 years. So that can't be good for us. I was going to go to Ireland so I could stay in the EU, but I can't understand what those people are saying. No offense, Zach. So I'm not sure. We might have to come to Australia. I don't know
You
if it's
could
going to be safe for you and I to be on the same continent.
go to Ireland. You could put on a leprechaun outfit. You'd fit right in.
I could get a job just standing outside a pub.
I thought you were going to New Zealand to be a hobbit, professional hobbit.
Yes. Oh, I could quit shaving my feet. Thank you. Awesome. You were so helpful.
Seriously, have you made
Yeah.
any efforts to apply for a visa?
No. No.
No.
No. No.
You're
No.
like the people in Pompeii around 79
Yes.
CE
Yes.
going
What a
Vesuvius.
beautiful day. No, it's great.
No. It's been
It's
rumbling forever.
yeah.
It's never going to
Yeah.
erupt. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Well, this is no excuse, granted, but where I live, again, we have more cows than people. Our lives haven't changed. You know, we still do what we do because we hardly ever see people. We hardly ever go to the big city. Oh my God, it sounds like the Beverly Hillbillies. And so our day-to-day routine, we haven't been affected per se by COVID like some people have. So I'm not feeling the pinch. But no, you're right. I should be getting the fuck out of Dodge. Um, and I'm just not doing anything about it. So that's on me. That's on me. I mean, I'm an American.
What a surprise to everybody
Yeah,
that you're just not doing anything. I mean,
that is par for the course.
you're waiting for someone else to come in and just do it all for
Yeah.
you, and then
If they could, that would really be great. I'd appreciate it. And if they could make me breakfast too, that would. Don't spit, swallow.
Oh, you know I do. Um,
Yes.
Julian Assange. So
Yes.
the news came out last night, my time, that the UK judge in the extradition hearing
Mm-hmm.
determined that he should not be extradited to the United States, not because they believe Assange's legal team's rationale that he is going to be treated unfairly by the Americans,
Right.
but or that the whole thing is a political
Shit
beat
show.
up. Yeah,
Yes.
but because they fear him as a suicide risk
Yes.
if he spends any more time in isolation.
Yeah.
Now, I think his team are going to try and get him released on bail.
Wednesday.
The Americans are going to appeal it, take it to the UK High Court.
Right.
So I don't know. I guess it's the first positive thing that's happened to Julian Assange in many years.
Yeah. And
We'll
that's
see how it
relatives.
plays out.
Yeah. So between his time at the Ecuador embassy and the time that he's in jail now, how many years has that been? I mean, hasn't he already paid the price without the coming to America part of it? I mean, you would think that, I mean, if they wanted the Americans wanted to break him, and we do, they've done a pretty good job of it. Why can't they let it go? That's just not the way we work, I guess.
So the big question in my mind is what happens after January 20th?
Yeah.
Does the Biden administration pull the pin on the extradition hearing, or do they continue with it?
Well, my thing is Trump is enough of a fuck you kind of person. If he was to pardon Assange, it would just be to the middle finger to the establishment. Biden is too much a part of the establishment. Besides, he's got other things to worry about. He's not. Assange is not going to be too high on Biden's list. It should be, but I have a hard time going. I have a hard time thinking Biden's going to take 5 minutes. Give me a piece of paper so I can sign it, so we can get rid of this guy. It should happen, but I don't think Biden will do it. What do you think?
Look, I think the Democrats during the Obama administration demonstrated that they hate investigative journalists that make America
Yeah.
look bad. I think the Obama administration still has the record for prosecuting the most journalists, American journalists. This is, of
Well, number
course,
one,
Assange isn't an American journalist. He is a
right?
journalist. He is a publisher.
Yeah.
Again, just to remind people, he won the most prestigious award for investigative journalism in Australia back in 2011, I think, the Walkley
Hmm.
Award. So he is a journalist and a publisher, but he's not an American. But
Right.
I think the Obama administration went after more journalists, prosecuted more journalists under the Secession Act or whatever it is, the Act of 1913 that was set up before World War One
Hmm.
to go
Oh yeah.
after traitors. So I don't expect the Democrats to go lightly on Assange unless Biden's looking for some sort of a PR win.
Feel good
He's,
story.
yeah, if
Yeah.
he's looking for a feel-good PR win, there might be some sort of deal with Assange where they let him go, but make it contingent on shutting down WikiLeaks permanently, no more
Right.
investigative journalism, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I can imagine that playing out.
Well, my thing is the whole thing with Assange is pretty much like the phone call with Trump recently that was recorded. It's like now Trump is suing the Secretary of State of Georgia. There's two lawsuits. There's a federal one and a state one. It's like, how dare you expose me doing something wrong? So now I'm going to go after you. And again, you and I've had this conversation a billion times. It makes no sense to me that they're going to punish this guy for showing that America was doing things outside of the law. And it's just insane. So, but that's the world that we live in. And you're right. I mean, the Obama administration went after whistleblowers, even though they paid lip service to them. So why should Biden be any different?
In fact, Obama, during his campaigning in
Oh yeah,
2008, said that they were going to put additional whistleblower protections into place because a good democracy needed whistleblowers to feel
that
like they
sounds
could,
good.
coming out of the Bush administration,
Right.
when, of course, Assange leaked Assange not leaked, Assange published the footage of the Black Hawk or whatever the Apache helicopter was shooting civilians.
Yes.
And there
Jesus.
was the whole uproar over that. Obama, played to his audience and said, well, if you elect us, we're going to expose, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to, we're
My
going
own
to
special
put
way.
protections in place for whistleblowers, but of course
Yeah.
did the exact opposite when he got into power. He went after whistleblowers and journalists and Assange. It was not under the Obama administration that he was pulled out of the embassy and thrown
Hmm.
in jail, but they certainly, made a lot of strong comments about how they'd like to see him arrested. And I think
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton even said at one point she'd like to see him executed with a drone. So
Jesus.
when she was Secretary of State. So
Hmm.
yes, I don't expect a Biden administration to necessarily take a softer approach on the Assange issue, unless, as I said, they're looking for a quick PR win.
Yeah. Did you see that the president of Mexico, Obrador, offered to take Assange in? He said, "We'll take care of him. Give him with us. It's a headache for all of you. Just we'll watch him or whatever." And so that may be an out, but I seriously doubt America or the UK will take that opportunity. But maybe they should. Who knows anymore? Because it's just another clusterfuck that they're trying to deal with. But it's nice to know that somebody, even though it's a Central American country, is actually trying to live up to democracy. So good for
Listen,
Mexico.
we've got this great wall now that we tricked the Americans into building and paying for with their
Let's
own money.
give us Assange. He'll be trapped here. He can't get over the wall. It'd be awesome.
Well, the Americans can't get into our country to take Assange because there's a wall.
Yeah.
Big wall. It's a beautiful wall. It's the greatest wall you've ever
Well,
seen.
except for the wind blows and it falls down. But other than that, primo.
And we didn't have to pay for it. So it's all
Exactly.
great.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah.
What else has been in the news in the last couple of weeks? There's all these tensions ramping up with Iran again, Ray. We're seeing
Yeah.
the war bells. So there's the other conspiracy theory running around about Trump and the end of his term at the moment is that he's going to start some shit with Iran to
Yeah.
try and make life difficult for the Biden administration when they take over.
Yeah.
Or if you take an extreme conspiracy theory view, as justification for declaring martial law, but I don't think that's going to happen at this
Yeah.
juncture. But yes, they obviously, I think a couple of days ago, it was the 12-month anniversary of when Trump assassinated the Iranian general Soleimani.
Right.
Uh,
And there's been
so, yeah.
protests in the streets in Iran. So yeah, I mean, even if Trump doesn't do anything stupid the next week and 2 weeks, whatever it is, I mean, those people are still riled up and they're still pissed. You could easily say they have a right to be. So Trump has done some of what he wanted to do if he wanted to make things hard for Biden. I mean, he's already stirred the pot. Now he can just walk away. But he can't go to Florida because obviously the people in Florida don't want him. They don't like him. They don't love him.
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
The other issues that I'm interested to see what happens with the new Biden administration,
Hmm.
apart from all of the domestic issues, obviously, is does he continue with Obama's policy of opening up the relationship with Cuba?
Right.
And what position do they take on Guaido and Venezuela and all of that, kerfuffle down there?
Well,
Do we see a
yeah.
more enlightened approach to Latin American politics with the US under a Biden administration, or is it American business as usual?
Probably American business as usual. But my thing is Cuba still a threat to us anymore? Were they ever? I mean, come on, that's got to be old news. I mean, let's just open up trade with Cuba, try to stimulate both of our economies a little bit. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous, except for Cuba made us look bad. And so therefore we can never, ever normalize relationships with them because that's not how America rolls. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's over with now, but we can't let something go like that.
Well, Vietnam made you look bad as well, but you have normalized relationships with Vietnam.
That's true. I think we, what was it? We lost 50,000 men. I think there's a difference between we wanted to get the fuck out of there. It's halfway across the world. We lost 50,000 men. We spent a shit ton of money. We were more than happy to get out. Cuba is right there. I don't know. I think maybe it's just our pride. That's it all. If you're, I can't make it make sense because it's American politics, but we just can't seem to get over things. And the idea we're still even not talking to Cuba is just ridiculous. I don't get that. I do not. They are not, they cannot hurt us even if they wanted to.
They could never hurt you. They're a tiny little fucking
Exactly.
island
Well,
in the
except for when they were
Caribbean.
right. No, the worst thing I can do is get a sunburn when I go down there. No, I'm talking about the supposed Soviet missiles that were going to be put on there, but they're not a threat. Get over it. But that's me.
Well, yeah, they were Soviet missiles, not
Right.
Cuban missiles. So yes,
Yeah.
the Soviets, and again, as we've pointed out, I think when we did the Fidel obit series on the Cold War show, the missiles were installed for defensive
Yeah.
purposes.
Doesn't matter. How
Post
dare
Bay of
you
Pigs.
defend yourself against us? That's an act of war, right? I don't know.
Yes, we just tried to invade your country, but the act of war is on you for
And we've
trying to
got,
defend yourself against for future invasion attempts.
what did you tell me you read somewhere? Was it 357 plans to take out Castro? It was some
700 and something.
700? Some astro. Yeah. So, I mean, come on. So why are you taking that personally? Why are you being like that? Why are you trying to do those missiles? So again,
I think 700 plans to assassinate Castro that the CIA has acknowledged.
Oh, so it's 13,000. Okay. Just checking.
They're just the ones they can remember.
Yeah.
It's a bit like one of my ex-wives saying, "How many women did you sleep with?" And me going, "Oh well, I can remember
Wow.
5."
Right. And if I did 2 at the same time, isn't that really 1? Because anyway.
Yeah. So I look, assuming that all things go according to the rules of Hoyle in the next couple of weeks, and Biden is sworn in without a coup
Right.
or martial law being declared or a civil war breaking out.
Yeah.
Interesting to see what kind of approach he takes to foreign policy. I did note that in the recent funding bill that was finally passed by Congress,
Right.
there was something like $400 million set aside for Ukraine to, defend their democracy.
Right.
I assume part and parcel of that is making sure any evidence of Hunter Biden's involvement in Burisma is well and truly disappeared.
Part of the
Made
game,
it
baby.
very hard for
Yeah.
anyone to find anything about that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what's going
So
on with the Hunter Biden investigation? Have you heard any more about that?
I haven't heard anything about that. Trump is pretty much sucking all the air out of the room, and for him, it's overturning the election. So if there's any more on that story, I haven't heard it. So that money that's going to Ukraine, is that maybe to buy some weapons to defend themselves against Russia, or is it just going in people's pockets to keep their mouth shut, or maybe a little bit of both? Who knows?
Yeah, I'm sure most of it is a line of credit to
Yeah,
buy American weapons.
gotcha. Yeah.
And possibly, as we talked about when we've talked about the Ukraine situation before, there's part of the American play there is to take control of the energy sector in the Ukraine and wrest that away from Russia. So they want the people of Ukraine buying American oil and American gas and stuff like that.
It's all about Benjamins. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's probably some quid pro quos in play in diplomatic circles with Ukraine. Okay, we will give you this line of credit, but here's how you have to spend it.
Right. Like the Marshall Plan.
Yeah, exactly like the Marshall Plan. Yeah. And here's what you have to do in terms of, where you buy your energy from, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
But getting back to the Hunter Biden thing, so
yes,
I haven't paid much attention to this, but has Joe Biden announced yet who his pick is to run the Department of Justice?
No, actually, they were starting. That was starting to generate waves that he has not yet picked anybody. So as far as I know, he hasn't picked anybody, and so a lot of people are like, "Why hasn't he picked anybody yet? He's only got a couple of weeks. What's going on?" So if he doesn't hurry up and pick someone, it's going to take a potential non-story and turn it into a story, and it may get traction, and so the whole thing could come back again. And I'm just finished talking about Hunter Biden, because if anything did happen, I mean, it's like Cuba. It's yesterday's news, and that's how politicians operate. So who knows? He needs to hurry up and pick someone and put that to bed.
I think he should put Hunter Biden in charge of the Justice Department.
Brilliant. Hunter Biden could get on the camera and go, American people, because he loves Bill Clinton. I've looked into this, and I did not do.
No, he'd do this. Wrong. He'd go, American people, just wait a minute. Woo! Woo! I'm innocent, bitches! Fuck you!
Innocent! Oh my God, yeah. Did you run across the Kazakh bodybuilder who was going to get married to a sex doll? Unfortunately, he had to postpone the wedding due to COVID. COVID's ruining everybody's fucking lives. And I just want to say to Yuri, I'm really sorry, but when the time comes, hope you two tie the knot, and I hope you have a very long life together. And I hope she never gets pricked. And I hope everything's going to be fine. Pricked. And the air comes out.
She's a blow-up sex doll, or more advanced?
She's hot. Hey, her name is Margot. Okay. His name is Yuri Tolokko, and he met her, I guess, bought her in May of 2019. This is what I brought to the show. He bought her in 2019, and there's like tons of pictures of them in a hot tub and the bed and everything. Anyway, their wedding had to be postponed because of COVID.
Wow.
That's all I had.
Yeah. Well, I'm just looking through other stories that have come across my desk in the last couple of weeks.
Did you read about the Washington Post praising Israel for being able to vaccinate so many of their people in a relatively short time? I think they've already supposedly done like 10% or something like that. But what they're leaving out is that they are not vaccinating any of the Palestinians within their territory. That's how they're able to get through the correct people so quickly. So that's causing a lot of stink for some people, but the Israelis, or at least Netanyahu, seems to be fine with it.
Sure.
I wasn't sure if you run across that.
No, I hadn't.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about poisoned underpants, though.
Sure.
I know you.
That's why I don't wear them.
Yeah, that's why you go free balling. Yeah,
I'm Kramer, baby. Anyway, sorry.
Why is it called going commando? Like what's
I don't know. We should look that up. I don't know.
You'll recall that some months ago we covered the story of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny being supposedly poisoned by agents of Putin.
Mm-hmm.
There was the story at the time when it all broke is that they got the poison in his tea. Novichok, they supposedly put in his tea when he was at an airport, and because he fell sick on a plane.
Right.
And at the time we were like, how the fuck do you get poison in someone's tea when they're at an airport?
Yeah.
Like, do you, do you impersonate airport
Just put on an apron.
coffee cafe staff?
Barista.
But
Yeah.
how do you know
Yeah.
which cafe he's going to?
You poison all of the teas that day.
Except
I could
he's
be
the only
wrong.
person that fell sick with Novichok poisoning. But
Okay, it's not a perfect plan. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
the story came out a couple of weeks ago, just before Christmas, that Navalny rang one of the agents who he suspected was behind the poisoning.
Ballsy.
Apparently, that group of independent investigative bloggers,
Right.
Bellingcat, figured out who these guys were. They managed to, I think, use mobile phone cell data or something to figure out that the particular couple of agents had been following Navalny around for a period of time. And the one guy that he spoke to is, he managed to call this guy up, Konstantin Kudryavtsev. Yeah.
Good killer name.
Konstantin, good name for a Russian assassin. And he impersonated Navalny, this is, got the guy's number, called him up and impersonated like a senior ranking member of the FSB, and said that they were sort of doing a bit of an analysis on what went wrong over the phone. Like very sort of suspicious. I don't know what kind of top FSB agent is going to fall for that.
Good point. He was the Ray of the team.
James Bond getting a phone call and his voice going, "Oh, yeah, it's
this is Money Penny. Yeah.
007, yeah. Look, my name's Bob. My name's Barry Stanison. Emma's asked me to just check in with you. Yeah. Sorry, Agent Barry Stanison. Emma's asked me to just British accent. Hello, Bond. Yes, Agent Barry Stenison here. Emma's asked me to just call you and ask you, can you tell me all of your secret details of how the hit of Blofeld went wrong, old chap?
Belly up.
Let me know.
Yeah. Walk me through it. Yeah.
So he called this guy, and apparently the guy just opened up, and they had a long 45-minute conversation, according to Navalny, where they talked about what went wrong, and the guy said that they put the poison in his underpants. Now, if you thought getting it in his tea at the airport was tricky, how do you get
I know this one.
Poison into somebody's jocks?
They didn't fake a position of a barista. What they did was they put in a fake bathroom attendant. Here, sir, let me help you zip that up. Whoop. Happy flying, sir. I don't know.
Bathroom attendants in Russia? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I've never been to Russia. I don't know. Georgia. I figured they're pretty fancy with bathroom attendants. You know, they got the vest and they stand there. I could be wrong.
So I assume they somehow went through his luggage.
Oh, let's go with that one. That sounds better.
Yeah, pass through security. FSB says, we're checking luggage. They get his luggage, swipe a little bit of the old Novichok. We're doing a bomb test.
But he got sick on the plane. He'd have to be wearing the underwear, wouldn't he?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe
because pretty soon,
flew in from somewhere else.
Could be.
Yeah.
Because next you're going to tell me, actually we found we were able to successfully blow it up his ass, and that's how he was poisoned. Explain that to me. Anyway, sorry.
It is useful though, because I'm writing a screenplay at the moment based on the life of an assassin.
Right.
This is a story I've been thinking about for 30 years.
Blow me deadly, right?
It's a story about the world's greatest assassin, and I'm the Navalny thing. How do you get Novichok into somebody's underwear?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a starring role for you.
Here I am, Hollywood.
The world's greatest assassin.
That's right. You're welcome.
Because you have one of those faces that I don't think anyone notices. You can walk through a crowd
Yeah.
You're like the gorilla in the basketball video, the gorilla experiment.
That
You
sounds,
know,
that sounds right.
have
Yeah.
you seen that?
Yeah. No, but it sounds dead on.
So there's a psychology experiment that was done many years ago, and there's a video of it on the YouTubes. There was a great book called The Gorilla Experiment, I think, about it. But you see a video of a bunch of people playing basketball, close quarters,
Right.
like passing and, tackling, all
Right.
that kind of stuff. We're close, like 10 people playing basketball coming.
Yeah.
You watch the video. They say, watch the video. At the end of the video, they say, did you notice the gorilla? And you go, what? No.
Yeah.
And then when you watch it again, there's a guy in a gorilla suit who walks right through the middle of the pack of people playing basketball. But because I think the question is, can you count how many times they pass the ball? So you're focusing on the ball.
Hyper focused. Yes.
You don't notice the gorilla. And when you go back and you watch, you go, holy shit, how did I not see that? You are the gorilla in the basketball video, my friend.
Oh.
You have one of those nondescript, average white man faces.
Yes.
That not good looking, but not,
not Quasimodo.
Not Quasimodo.
Right. Somewhere
between. Closer to the Quasimodo, but not.
It's a good day for me. I'll take it. Yeah. I can do you one better. I've been on top of people.
You're Quasimodo. Quasi Quasimodo. Yeah, that's it.
It's my porn name. Anyway, if we could move off this subject now. It's kind of like D'Angelo, if you could move off my wife.
My dick is bent. It's the Quasimodo dick. It's got a hunchback. I got a hunchback dick.
It's a defect. I can't help it. I didn't do anything to make it. Anyway. Good times, my friend.
How do you get poison into somebody's underpants? That's the
carefully
$100 question of the day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm done. That's the bullshit filter for 2021, first episode of the year. Well done to Mike Snyder for chickening out. You have yet again lived up to my expectations, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks, maybe, with another show. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and if you haven't already, listeners of this show, go listen to our Cold War episode with Danny Shawson.
Awesome.
That we put out on the bullshit filter a couple of weeks ago. We could have put it out on this show, but I thought we'd put it in the bullshit, the Cold War show. But, basically retired US major, now an anti-war activist, and talking about the military's role in the military-industrial complex. Yes. Really, really interesting guy, bold, brave, going against his former employers and doing a lot of good investigative journalism about what is known as the West Point Mafia and how they control major sections of the US, political and business elite. Anywho, check it out. I think it was our last Cold War episode. So we have been on holidays for a week or two. We're back now. We'll be putting out new episodes of everything this month, including starting Nero, back to Da Vinci on the Renaissance later this week, back to the CIA on the Cold War, back into it for more Ray and Cam 2021.
In it to win it.
All right. Talk to you later. See ya.
See ya. Bye-bye.